Tattoos on his face.
ATVs are great for trails, backyards, maybe a bit of weekend mud, but they're not meant for outrunning state troopers on public roads. On December 9, 2022, in rural Arkansas, a man on an ATV decided to test that theory. Trooper Neese from Arkansas State Police spotted the four-wheeler riding where it shouldn't have been, out on the county roads, and attempted to pull it over. But the rider had no interest in a quiet stop. Instead, he took off, and what started as a simple traffic violation quickly became something more.
We're going northbound. About 51, the traffic's light. He's wearing a Harley Davidson motorcycle jacket. Tattoos on his face. Word. We're off the road. He's going through the woods.
Trooper Neese lost sight and had to call it. The suspect was gone. Just like that, a pursuit that could have ended with a citation, maybe a $100 fine, put both sides at risk for no real payoff. You have to wonder, was it really worth pushing that hard for an ATV running from a ticket? Then again, for ASP, it's about more than just the stop. It's about the principle. But even so, some days leave you with more questions than answers. On a spring afternoon in April 2021, officers in Fulton County were responding to complaints that had become all too common: off-road vehicles riding illegally through city streets. As Corporal Youngblood arrived near Northside Drive, he spotted a maroon ATV flying past at an unsafe speed. The rider made eye contact, slowed down as if to comply, and then made a sudden U-turn and bolted the other way.
He's going back towards the park, 10-12. Going towards the park, 10-12. All right, Landon, he's going up to the park. 10-12 to the park. He's mingling with the other ones, right? You just showing me back 10:39.
The suspect, later identified as Daryl Sturkey, tried to run, but was caught after a brief foot chase. Once on the ground, Sturkey admitted he had a gun in his pocket, which was recovered without issue. There were no injuries, though he did mention a pre-existing wrist problem. He was taken to the hospital for a quick check before being booked into Fulton County Jail. Along with new charges, he also had active warrants already waiting in 2 other counties. So for now, at least, his running days were on pause.
Hey, my hand, bro.
Me?
I'm saying it's broke, though.
Oh, okay, well, you still being handcuffed behind the back.
I'm saying you could just tighten up a little bit. My hand,
In a minute.
bro.
In a minute.
Get my key for me on my bike.
You're biting me, too.
I know. I need my key, though.
Damn, man. Why'd you do that, dude?
I'm scared, bro. I'm just trying to...
Looks like, sweatpants.
It was late afternoon on June 27, 2025, when an ASP trooper on patrol spotted something out of place. A silver ATV zipping down a public street, going 60 in a 40. No helmet, no eye protection, just wide open throttle through a neighborhood where people were likely winding down their day. The rider made eye contact with the patrol car, then picked up speed, turning off the main road and diving deeper into residential streets. Now, ASP doesn't usually chase down off-road vehicles, but when one's doing highway speeds through a community, it quickly becomes their business.
Yep. Southbound Jameson. Black male. Silver collar. No traffic. About 50. We're gonna go westbound on the Hogan. Towards Scotty. We are northbound on Mize. Eastbound on Rocco, 25 miles an hour, no traffic. It's a black male, green shirt, looks like sweatpants. He pulled off into a yard, driving around the house, and by just one.
The chase didn't last long. The rider, Joshua Pitts, pulled into a gated property and tried to slip the ATV into a backyard shed. By the time the trooper made it around, Pitts was already on foot, heading toward the back door. He was stopped and arrested without a struggle. No license, no protective gear, and a long list of infractions that went beyond just a speeding ticket. Pitts explained he was only trying to get home to show paperwork, as if that made everything else disappear. But ASP doesn't operate on where you end up. They act on what you do getting there. April 17th, 2024. It was a Wednesday afternoon in Duluth, Georgia. A local officer was parked along Peachtree Industrial Boulevard when he noticed something unusual coming his way, a four-wheeler moving fast. It wasn't the kind of traffic you'd expect on a main road, but the officer stayed put, watching. As the ATV got closer, lights and sirens were flipped on, and the driver, Tyler Taylor, 25 years old, did something that briefly suggested cooperation. He slowed down, obeyed a red light, made a calm U-turn, and then decided that was enough courtesy. Tyler's escape didn't go far. Moments later, he tried to pull a stunt move, flipping the ATV in an attempt to dart away, but police were already close enough to grab him. He was tackled before he could get far, taken into custody without much of a fight. That's when they learned Tyler was already on probation. He claimed he didn't realize ATVs weren't allowed on public roads, that he was just out for a ride, but officers weren't buying it. A little adrenaline and a poor decision landed him a felony charge, and as much as he tried to play it off, this ride through town wasn't something he could steer his way out of. It was shaping up to be just another regular day for Arkansas State Police until the calls started coming in. Drivers were reporting something hard to miss. A man weaving through public roads on a four-wheeler, wearing what looked like a Halloween mask. And not just any mask, something that resembled an elderly Fu Manchu. Officers, both marked and unmarked, were quick to respond. And sure enough, there he was. Did you see that? For a moment, it almost felt ridiculous, until word came in that he was wanted by the FBI for drug trafficking. The mask suddenly started making a lot more sense. The chase didn't last long. He eventually gave up and told officers he ran because he got scared. But by that point, it was hard to take much at face value. The mask, the ATV, the timing, it all pointed to something deeper. No details were ever confirmed about what he was carrying or why he thought a disguise would help. But the officers clearly suspected more was going on. Maybe he did have drugs hidden somewhere. Maybe he didn't. What we do know is, when you're on the run from the FBI, rolling through town on a four-wheeler in full costume probably isn't the best exit plan. During a coordinated traffic operation on May 2, 2021, aimed at curbing reckless street riding in Bibb County, one four-wheeler rider chose to push his luck. Troopers had been tracking a group of unlicensed dirt bikes and ATVs, causing issues on public roads, and when one of them, a blue Yamaha, turned down a side street without a tag, a trooper moved in. As soon as the lights came on, the suspect decided that pulling over wasn't a good plan. As the chase neared a busy construction zone, the trooper worked to guide the four-wheeler away from traffic. It worked. The rider lost control after hitting uneven pavement and was thrown off. Eventually, the rider complied. In his backpack, troopers found suspected marijuana and a loaded handgun with an extended magazine. The man was identified as DeMonta T.J. Thomas and taken into custody. In a small Michigan county just outside Roscommon, a trooper found himself trailing something unexpected, an off-road Banshee ATV refusing to stop. It wasn't clear what started it. No obvious crime, no confrontation, just a sudden refusal to pull over that quickly turned into a pursuit through back roads and dirt trails. The Banshee didn't stick to any lanes. It cut across fields and tree lines like it knew every inch of the place, and for a while, the trooper tried to keep up.
Lane 24, the rider's got a black helmet on, blue sweatshirt, we're coming up to the dead end. Lane, you flip back around, heading back towards North Central. Field. Clear. We just passed Pioneer. Clear on Pioneer 64. Okay, he said he's flagging me down here, but he's turning left on Pines off Pioneer. Clear. Central 14, 24 heading east. 24, 276, I'm out, 218, that's the wire. You let me help. Alright, Lane, he's back here on a 2-track now on power lines. I'm not sure where he's going to be heading to. Clear on 2-track near power line 1613. Yeah, he just... I'm going to be checking the residents back here. I lost sight of them.
The chase didn't last long. Somewhere deep off-road, the Banshee slipped out of view, and that was it. No arrest, no crash, no clear suspect. What little was known came later. The rider was just a kid. Some chases make headlines with big standoffs or dramatic takedowns. Others just fade, with more questions than answers. On a Friday in March 2023, drivers on Interstate 30 in Arkansas started noticing something that didn't belong: an ATV weaving through traffic like it was just another car on the road. Several calls came into dispatch about the reckless riding, and eventually, troopers spotted the four-wheeler cutting across lanes and heading toward another interstate. At first glance, it looked more careless than calculated, but when the lights and sirens came on, the man riding the ATV didn't slow down. He sped up.
57 I'm behind him. We're going in front of Forest Hill. Correction, almost Forest Hills.
Here.
And we're going 67 north. I guess I'm done 37.
Correction, that going on 67 north.
Pull over!
You just want to ask me on that ATV? Yes, sir.
It's a black male wearing a black jacket, blue shirt.
Black male, black jacket, blue. So, come in, around there to 70K.
His back tire just came off.
Even after one of the back wheels came off, our suspect kept going, pushing well over 60 miles an hour, swerving between lanes like nothing had changed. Troopers knew it had to be stopped before it caused more trouble.
No floor rock up there, Wilson, take please. We sure would. Can't you make it for me?
We're still rolling.
Give it up, buddy. You're done. Pull over. Give it up. You're all done. To the north, approaching Wildwood.
67 on approaching Wildwood.
Speed 60.
Eventually, troopers were able to get in front of him and guide the ATV to a stop without incident. The man gave a name, but the fingerprints told a different story. What started as a reckless joyride turned out to be Curtis Jackson, riding with a suspended license, under the influence, and giving his brother's name in the process. His breath test showed a BAC nearly twice the legal limit, and the charges stacked up quickly: fleeing, DUI, false identification, and several traffic violations. The ATV was towed, and Jackson was booked into the Pulaski County Jail, where his story ended much slower than it began.
I'm on Highway 65 traveling toward Lake Village, attempting to stop a four-wheeler.
It was just after 8:30 in the evening on May 26th, 2024, when a blue Yamaha Raptor caught the attention of a trooper parked along the highway near Lake Village. The four-wheeler was moving north, not exactly speeding, but clearly out of place. When the patrol lights came on, the rider didn't stop. Instead, he eased into the throttle and kept moving. The pace wasn't extreme, but the route quickly became unpredictable. He turned onto another highway, reversed course twice, and even steered into the wrong side of the road.
Speed's 53. It's going to be a blue four-wheeler. It looks to be occupied by one person. Denying that. Speed 60, light traffic. I'm attempting to slow him down on the shoulder. I got somebody else behind me. Back toward Lake Village. He's traveling into oncoming traffic. Alright, he's hitting the field. Headed back toward Greenville.
Eventually, the four-wheeler left the road entirely, cutting into a field where the chase was called off for safety. But it didn't end there. Not long after, officers from Arkansas Game and Fish found the suspect tucked away in the woods off a nearby access road. He was identified as Derek Ford from Kansas City, and taken into custody without any trouble. Alongside the felony fleeing charge, he was booked for several traffic offenses, including wrong-way driving and operating an ATV on public roads. It wasn't the kind of chase built on speed, but it was one built on choices, and each one narrowed his way out. That's it for today's video, and if you liked it, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.